What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, GLDMAZE. That's GLDMAZE, all caps when you spell the damn name. And I'm feeling good. I can't lie, y'all. I feel really good right now. About to go get breakfast. About to go to the library and work for a little bit. This week has been a very productive week. And I'm just gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about consistency. Consistency as a wizard, what that looks like when you break all convention, and how do you find that routine again? How do you find that semblance of stability and reliability with your routine, as someone who deals with the unseen, who deals with the spiritual. I say this because I deal with psychosis on a daily basis. It's a chronic condition, so I'm always dealing with it. So this is really what I go through on a daily basis. I try to navigate my mind space very actively. So I want to talk about consistency in that practice, and what it looks like, and how I go through it, my day. How I go through each day with new tasks in mind and new goals to set. So let's continue the day. Yo, consistency. So, what do I deal with every day? Well, I mean, to a certain extent, I deal with voices and visions consistently. I mean, I take medication. I am medicated for psychosis, but I can't lie, synchronicities and psychic phenomena seem to just pull to me in a way that is just a constant fixture in my life, to where I have to acknowledge them. And before, I used to ignore them, or I would play into them only to the point where they would stop bothering me. But that only made them come even more often, because they were always looking for that resolution. They were looking for that test within me. And I would always give it to them. I'd always give them the struggle, give them the argument in my head, in where I'm talking to myself and, arguing with visions and, entities in my mind, and, really being distracted from what's really going on in front of me. And that's really all psychosis is. It's something pulling you away from what's immediately in front of you, because what's immediately in front of you is not giving you the same gratification, if that makes sense. Like, you are isolated within your own mind, and so your own mind starts to find things that it can play with, that it can fixate on outside of your immediate surroundings, and it causes a further dissonance, which exacerbates the visions and the hallucinations and stuff like that. So it's a quagmire. It's a real quagmire, because the more you ignore it, the more it seems to be an undertone within your interaction with the world. If that makes sense. Like, right? Talking to you right now, I don't feel very distracted by my condition. I feel very much aligned. I feel very much in tune. I feel very much silent and still. I feel comfortable within myself to be doing this. But that's only because I've worked with myself. I've worked with these hallucinations. I've worked with these visions to understand what they come from, where they come from, what they mean, and why they're doing what they're doing. You have to play with them at their level. And that practice can be hard, especially trying to be consistent with it, because it's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. It's a ridiculous practice. You're literally like talking to yourself or channeling and writing down what comes to you, conversating in ways that you don't usually do, reaching information that seems a little too big for someone like you to reach. If that makes sense, it seems a little too ambitious. It seems like you're crossing into waters that you never really crossed before. So your ego takes it to its natural conclusion. Oh, I must be a genius. Oh, I must. That's why a lot of psychotic people think they're onto something when they deal with their delusions and stuff like that, because the ego is happy that it gets to play with the abstract in a way that only we get. Only we get. It becomes a self-feeding loop, a self-fulfilling cycle of gratification that's not based in any external value. It's all internal. It's all this inner world of turmoil and grandeur that seeks to see itself complete within you. The more you bring it out into the real world, the more you practice your expression, the lesser it should be. That's my theory, at least. You know, and that's what I practice. Am I saying that my art is a therapy, a medicine? Yes. Yes, it is. It really is. And I think everyone should think of their art as a medicine, as a healing medium, because art is so powerful. And it can really do a lot of damage. And we've seen that damage in our world with propaganda and the whole system of propaganda that is the military-industrial complex, that is the prison-industrial complex. That's why they ban books from prisons, you know. That's why it's not popular to teach prisoners how to read, because they don't want prisoners to be fucking liberated in their mind, at least, or else they'd never come back. And they always want them to come back. That's how it works, you know. We can't return to a state of chaos. That's not our prerogative. We can't return to a state of disenfranchisement. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to elevate. We're here to evolve, to reach a new form of understanding, a new consensus of what can be. And this practice of dealing with psychosis, of dealing with the unseen, dealing with, you know, models of archetypes that show up in your head as a form of chemical imbalance, whether or not you believe in that sort of thing, I think it doesn't matter. I think whatever you experience, you have a duty to work through it, or else you're just going through life like I don't know, but you're not going through life. That's how I feel, at least. There's something so vital about recontextualizing experience, and we've all had to do that in our lives. But there's an amount of people in the world that I feel like I've been through just unexplainable shit. Unexplainable shit. Whether it is via psychosis or via, you know, heartbreak, or via poverty, or via depression, via suicide, anything that I don't even want to talk about that because that's just so tragic. But there's a level that everyone knows how to deal. Everyone knows what it's like to deal with something they can't explain. Consistency requires us to examine our experience with a fresh set of eyes each time. To refresh how we see what's around us so we know how to move and orient ourselves accordingly. That means making reports. That means reflecting. That means meditating. That means arguing. That means talking it through either to yourself or with someone else. And if you have someone else, cherish them. You know? Some of the most important things I've ever come across in life have been through the eyes of other people, just in conversation. You know, it's a beautiful day. My grass is really green. And that's another thing. Consistency helps you build gratitude because you're willing to show up every day. You're willing to see the same thing every day. You're willing to see similar things every day and do the same process to new ends, to new completions, you know? Your willingness to work with what you know and what you don't know shows that you're grateful for what you have and you're grateful for the opportunities to get more, to understand more, to view more. You know, they say the grass is greener on the other side. I don't think that's true if you were consistent with your garden, consistent with your yard, you know. Consistency shows up in many aspects of life. I think if you show up very well in one way, it's bound to trickle over into other places too. Yeah. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for nature. I see a bunny right here. It's a cute bunny. I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for spirit guiding me through all this hardship with a view towards the sun, a view towards the light, at the end of the tunnel, at the end of whatever I'm going through. I'm grateful for friends that keep me on the up and up, that keep me on this path. I'm grateful for having a bed. Man. Like, it was just in 2024 when I was roaming the streets of Austin, not a phone in my pocket, just a sweater on my back and sweatpants, roaming the streets of Austin in complete lunacy. I slept in a 7-Eleven. I went to a church, sat there for about a couple hours in the cold of winter. And Texas winter is an interesting thing. It's like sharp cold. I'm so grateful I got out of that. because I was lost, you know. I could have never made it back home. I could have never made it back even to just the Super 8 that I was staying at, you know, at the time. I could have never made it back there. But, you know, thankfully, I wandered to the point where cops had to be called because I was in a neighborhood, a random ass neighborhood. And they took me back home. I'm grateful that I was cognizant enough to know where my home was at the time. I'm grateful that I was able to articulate myself well and not be harmed by those cops. And consistency dictates that this process of escaping negativity or escaping trauma, of evading trauma, I should say, or avoiding trauma. Not avoiding. You can't really avoid trauma. I think consistency dictates of us that we trust the process of evolving, healing from trauma. Because we deal with trauma every day in little ways. It interrupts our days in so many little ways. I can't really explain how, but you carry it with you like a badge. It is access to a way of seeing the world, but it's a limit. It doesn't open all doors. In fact, it kind of closes all doors, most doors. It's a badge, but it closes most doors, which is interesting. That's what trauma is, in my mind. And I don't know. I feel like consistency asks of us to view our trauma's manifestations with grace and mold them like a kid plays with a toy or plays with Play-Doh. You know, they have to be delicate with it. They need to shape it in the way they see it in their minds, in their youthful mind. They play in the key of jubilance because that's all they know. And they're able to create new things even when it breaks. You know, they don't take There's a bunny. Hello, bunny. Yeah. Consistency asks us to mold our trauma, chisel it every day. Just a little bit. Chisel at it. Find some definition. Find some shape. Find some form to the madness, to the chaos that you feel within you so innately because of your experience. Consistency as a wizard is playing with those unseen traumas, unseen pains, and making music out of them. Making poetry, charging those words with a lightness or darkness, whichever is your proclivity. I don't know. We all have a duty to do that with ourselves. That's really all I wanted to say today. That's all. I kind of stretched it out a little bit, but I think this was important to say. This was an important discussion. As always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm THE.MAZIST. I'm GLDMAZE. I'm Christopher Crawford Jr. You can follow me on Substack. You can subscribe to my blog, THE.MAZIST, all caps with a dot in the middle. I write poetry, I write essays, I write lore. You can listen to my music, that's GLDMAZE, all caps when you spell the damn name, on all platforms. I just released a new project called The Bolt last year. Check it out. And, yeah, Maze out.